Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, hope I'm audible.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna, audible.
Krishna. Yes. Start with the prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaya Kada Mahyam Dadanti Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Govindaya Namaha Sri Krishna Hari Bol Gopala Hari Bol Radha Ramana Govinda Hari Bol Sri Krishna Hari Bol Gopala Hari Bol Radha Ramana Govinda Hari Bol Jai Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhi Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So welcome you all to the level 2 class. Today we'll be learning about chapter number 3, Karma Yoga. Okay, also called as a yoga of action or working in Krishna consciousness. As you all know, whatever we are discussing is based on the teaching of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, founder Acharya for International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Govinda ki Jai. So we are able to continue this classes and all. It's because of the blessings of Shri Shri Radha Govinda. Just a minute. So when we look back in the first chapter, like Arjuna was totally being a soft-hearted person and a pure devotee. He was confused and not able to go ahead, whether to go with a war or what to do. Okay. And in second chapter of his, because of his confusion state, he will surrender to Lord Krishna. That means a supreme personality of the Godhead, a person who has a higher knowledge than him, and he will say, "Let's please guide me. What is right for me?" Okay. In second chapter, we have learned about the soul and the physical body, and what is permanent, what is temporary, and why one should do the karma. Otherwise, what type of an infamy one is going to attain, and what are the things which we have to lament in our life, whether the permanent things or the temporary things. Okay. And ultimately, the body will undergo various type of changes, and it will undergo various karmas. Ultimately, it will be liberated. Okay. So do not lament on the things which are temporary. So Lord will say one has to attain a state of a sthita prajnata, that is a balanced state of mind. Then he will conquer the world. So he is just preparing Arjuna to come to that stage. So as a part of that, today he'll be teaching him about the karma yoga. So how he has to do his actions. Okay. So these are the previous chapter highlights. Okay. His further doubts and he surrenders. Then Lord will say, fight. And he will ask, like, you being a Kshatriya, your duty is to fight. See, for a Kshatriyas, Vijay or Veer Gati. Either way, you have been benefited, but now doing your work, you will have to take a infamy. Okay. And how you have to work. And ultimately, as I just told you, Sthita Prajna, that means fixed in Krishna consciousness, having a balanced set of mind. Okay. In the present chapter, we'll be discussing about the following verses, dealing with the confusion, renunciation of working in Nishkama Karma. Okay. From Karma Kanda to Karma Yoga. So Nishkama Karma, acting dutifully with a detachment to set the correct example and beware of lust and anger. Okay. So here we'll come to know about Sukarma, Vikarma, Nishkama Karma, Akarma, all those things. Okay. Don't worry. As we are going further, we will have a detail about all these things. Okay. Dealing with Arjuna's confusion, renunciation or working in a Nishkama Karma, which is right for me. So again, he is asking Lord Krishna. Okay. So that Lord is saying again, you have to work, but with a detachment. So from Karma Kanda, that is merely doing a work, to Karma Yoga. That means doing a work without expecting the returns out of it. Even if Arjuna is qualified for renunciation, he should still do the Nishkama Karma Yoga to set the right example to the society. Okay. And lust is a formidable enemy on the path of yoga. That is, lust is nothing but a perverted form of a love. So one should deliberately conquer the lust by deliberate spiritual intelligence. Unless one has an intelligence of the transcendental knowledge about the Lord, one cannot conquer that. So you should work on that. Yeah. Again, the Arjuna's confusion this way, that way, the other way. But let's see how Lord Krishna will guide him. So the connection between chapter 2 and 3 is that Durena hi avaram. Krishna tells Arjuna to keep all abominable activities far distanced by Buddhi Yoga. And that means the intelligence comes again once you practice the spirituality, isn't it? So chapter 3 begins with Arjuna's question to clarify this contradictory instructions. And still Krishna is urging him to fight. So what is this? So you are asking me to fight again. So I'm a bit confused. So for that, again, having an intelligence about the Lord, we will have a distinction between what is right and what is wrong. Okay. And we will know, like Arjuna will know that he being a Kshatriya, he has to fight. That knowledge is required, and that knowledge is provided once we take a forward step towards the Lord. Okay. So according to Arjuna, still he's not realized. He thinks jnana and work are incompatible. So let's see how Lord will explain him. अर्जुन उवाच जायसी चेत कर्मस्ते मता बुद्धिर्जनार्दन तं किं कर्माणि घोरे मां नियोजयसि केशव. Arjuna said, "O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you think, why do you want to engage in this ghastly warfare? Okay, if you think that intelligence is better than a fruitive work." So it says, why you want me to fight when you think intelligent people will have a better knowledge about it? Okay. Buddhi Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Krishna conscious, sometimes misunderstood to be inertia, a secluded place to chant a holy name of Lord in full Krishna conscious, which is not required actually. See, again, here impersonal and personal bhakti are the one which will come. Impersonal bhakti means you need to go to a secluded place thinking about the Lord, you do the japa, tapa, and all those things. But for a Krishna conscious devotees, the constant remembrance of the Lord in the form of Archa Vigraha and doing service towards him will automatically take you to the liberation. Okay. So here Lord is saying to work in Krishna consciousness, not to abandon anything and go to a secluded place and do the yoga practice. Okay. Vivamishreneva vakena buddhim mohaya sivame tadekam vada nishchitya yeno shreyoham apnuyam. The my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be the most beneficial for me. Okay. He's asking what is right for me. So we will come to Nishkama Karma Yoga. Esha te bhita asankhe buddhir yoge tvi imam shunu buddhaya yuktaya ya partha karma bandham prahashyasi. So through analytical study, now I have explained it in terms of working without fruitive results. That is doing the karma yoga, doing the actions in by thinking about the Lord without expecting any return. So son of Pritha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of the works. Okay. तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परा वासे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता. One who restrains his senses, keeping them under full control, fixes his consciousness upon me, devotion, is known to be a man of a steady intelligence. Because Lord is telling from second chapter onwards, Sita Prajnata, Sita Prajnata. So what does that mean? So one is steady in their devotional service, not deviated by any sort of a external stimulus. Okay. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmin Vividha Nishta Pura Prokta Maya Nagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. So here Lord is saying two classes of men who try to realize the self. One are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, that is impersonal bhakti, and other by devotional service, that is personal bhakti. Okay. The impersonal and personal bhakti, we will come to know about detail in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Okay. And the Sankhya Yoga and Karma or Buddhi Yoga are independent like religion and philosophy. Okay. So religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanatism. Okay. Philosophy without religion is a mental speculation. Okay. So ultimate goal is Krishna, understanding the self in relation to the super self, because there is a soul within and we have to connect ourselves with that soul which is there inside. That itself is like connecting to the God. Okay. So Krishna consciousness itself is a purifying process which will ultimately make our body to connect to the soul which is there inside and give the direction to the subtle body to work in the pure Shuddha Sattva Guna. Okay. I just want one of the devotee volunteer to read this. What is religion and what is philosophy?
May I read, Mataji?
May I read, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Echo happening. Okay. What is religion? Religion is a set of organized beliefs, practices, and systems that often relate to belief and worship of a controlling force, such as a personal God or another supernatural being. However, Not all religions are centered on a belief in a god, gods, or supernatural forces. It can encompass a range of practices, including sermons, rituals, prayer, meditation, holy places, symbols, trances, and feasts. What is
Okay.
philosophy? Those who study philosophy are perpetually engaged in asking, answering, and arguing for the answers to life's most basic questions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So religion is a group of people who follow that a practice is a system, a protocol. This has to be done this way, and all those things and all. Okay. Ritual philosophy again, and asking yourself the purpose of why and the basic needs, like what is the purpose of life and all those things. So everything is interrelated. Without one, the other one is incomplete. Let's move ahead with the philosophical speculation and Krishna consciousness. As I told you, Sankhya Yoga or indirect worship of the Lord is it's an indirect path toward the Lord. Whereas Krishna consciousness directly, we know that we have to do the Archa Vigraha. We constantly remember the lotus feet of the Lord and we do the worship. Depending on personal endeavor, one will success to what extent one is able to refrain the senses and work on it. Based on that, they will progress. But here, automatically everything, your activities are planned in such a way that you get automatically in the process, and we will progress further in the bhakti. Unsure of success because we are trying to concentrate on what we don't have a clarity. And here we know that we just have to work for the Lord from morning till evening. So there is short of a success. Okay, initial purification required by prescribed duty and end and means are the same. Krishna consciousness is itself a purificatory process because the morning it will start like one of you can please volunteer to say like how does a life of a devotee start from a morning till evening, and one can volunteer to say other devotee who is not Krishna conscious or doing other type of practices. So what is the difference between these two? Anyone among you? Two people. I wanted one for Krishna conscious and one for the philosophical speculation. Hare Krishna.
Can I do for the other one, second one? Hare Krishna.
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
So, should the first one start or do I start?
Anything, Prabhu.
Okay, the person who is not in Krishna consciousness wakes up much late in the morning after the sunrise, after the birds, after the traffic has started.
No, Prabhu. He gets us in the morning, but the practices are different for these people. How do you? I just wanted that example. It
Gets
is,
up early in the morning.
they get up early in the morning. The same time they rise as the Krishna conscious devotees rise, but the
Okay,
practices are different. So
I
how
will try.
different?
I will
Yes,
try.
yes.
I will try. So they get up early, as you mentioned. They may get up early, and their mind is now full of the activities of their commercial activity or as a student life about the studies.
No,
Am I?
no, no, Prabhu.
No?
No,
Okay.
Prabhu.
Give me an example, Mataji. Example, what you are expecting.
Say suppose example of Hiranyakashipu, who is meditating on Lord Brahma for
Okay.
some
Yeah.
benefit.
I was talking about the person in Kali Yuga.
Mataji, can I try?
Yes, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So, the world runs on the three concepts of the Bhagavad Gita, which is first of all is goodness, second one is passion, and third one is ignorance. So, how do we run ourselves on daily basis? This makes us conscious towards a Krishna, not conscious towards a Krishna. And there are three quitters of the life. One who is into thinking that uh, just doing things for myself is the first quitter. The second one is like, okay, being rich and being poor doesn't make any difference on the day to day life. And the third quitter is the one who understands everything and he surrenders to the Krishna's path, and then he surrenders his whole life to the bhakti yoga, and goes back to the Krishna's Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the person who is practicing indirect bhakti or the Sankhya philosophy, some selfish motto is there. I wanted wealth, I wanted the education, I wanted this. So everything is self-centered. But whereas devotee and all, yeah, please give example of a Krishna conscious devotee. Also, I would love to hear from you people.
A Krishna conscious devotee.
Sorry to interrupt. I just joined. Sorry for the delay. What is the question, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
You can listen to Prabhu answer, Mataji.
Okay, okay, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. So, a Krishna conscious devotee is understanding the three quitters mode of the Krishna, and understanding this materialistic life is only meant to be making more karmas, let it be good or bad, and which entangles ourselves every time in the day to day life. So, a Krishna conscious devotee basically gets up and starts his round by chanting 16 rounds, where he starts to understand like this japa is type of a japa which when you do it daily basis it reminds you of Krishna, and whatever work you start to do you take a name of Krishna. It's like the first six chapters where Krishna is saying to Arjuna that whatever karma you do, you might be feeling like you're killing people and everything, but this is you are Kshatriya and this is has to be done for dharma, so you have to do it. And then when we start to say like okay I donated or I do something, then we say that I need this pleasure. Rather than saying pleasure, devotee will say om tas sat, which is like more surrendering to the Krishna. Whatever I get fruits of it or anything, I surrender this to the Krishna because he's the whole universal power and he's the only creator of the universe and handles it out. And that's how he starts to give the feed Krishna to get him closer, in the sense of giving food and everything, but not in a sense, just in a sense that for an example, a devotee cooks food, but he cooks not for himself, but he cooks for Krishna, and all the tamaguna or sataguna, I'm wrong, please correct me, Mataji, out of the food is taken away by the Krishna, and it becomes the bhog becomes a prasadam after serving to it. So whatever you do in this materialistic body, you might be feeling materialistic desire, but if you surrender to Krishna, it becomes a spiritual desire, and it starts to show up the way, or Krishna starts to make a way towards him in that way. Please correct me if I'm wrong somewhere, Mataji. Hari bol.
Thank you so much. And the activities of a devotee is divided into sadhana bhakti in the form of chanting, okay, and personal service towards the Lord. Some are engaged in archa vigraha, that is decorating the deity with the flowers and all, and a set of devotees who are engaged in a purification process, like preparing the bhoga food, which has to be offered to the Lord. And another part is the preaching, that is whatever the various scriptures which are available, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, they impart that knowledge to the general public and make them aware about this shastras. Okay, so whatever activity they are doing, they are very much grateful to the Lord from morning till evening for doing all the thing, and basically maintain the all devotee association for spiritual progress. Okay. Whereas in impersonal bhakti, everything is centered around self. Okay. I wanted wealth. I wanted a education. I wanted so and so. I wanted a home. I wanted a kingdom. I wanted to be immortal and all those things. Everything is centered around the self. So what, based on that only, their process itself is like it is desire based. They wanted to achieve all those things. So that is the motto between a personal bhakti and impersonal bhakti. Okay, so Krishna recommends only the personal bhakti, not the impersonal bhakti, because ultimately it will take us further for the spiritual liberation. Okay. नाहि कश्चित् क्षणमापि जातु तिष्ठाति अकर्मकृत् कार्यते हि Avasa, karma, sarva, prakriti, jairgune. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature, sattva, raja, and tamoguna. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for the moment. Some activity will do. So, if we are in a right path, then mostly our activity will be right. Okay. So, so here Lord says again, better to accept, better to engage in Krishna consciousness rather than getting your energy diverted to some other things. In that way, purification is already in process, and you will progress towards the Shuddha Sattva Guna. Okay. Again, this particular slide shows here you can see all the devotees starting from their DT service to cleaning the temple or preparing the bhoga, having the Krishna prasadam, cleaning the dishes in the temple. All these things, there is no loss. Even if there is the fall down, Krishna will get you engaged again in this service and take you further. But whereas impersonal bhakti, if you take an example of Vishwamitra, one side of Menaka has all the tapasya what he did was gone into vain, and you know what the end result is. Similarly, all the demonic characters what we have in our Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, all these people, they have did the yoga for some personal benefit. Ultimately, you know, when we are temporary in this world, just worshipping God for the materialistic things will only lead to fall down. So that should not be the motto. We should only work for the Lord. Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyardhan vimudhatma mityachara sa uchyate. So one who restrains the senses of action but whose mind dwells on the sense object certainly deludes himself and is called as a pretender. So can one of you please enlighten on this particular picture? What one is able to understand? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji, I'm able to hear you.
So from this picture, what we can understand is this person is trying to impose himself as a sadhu. However, if we look at the picture clearly, he is into bad habits because he is holding a cigarette probably in his hand, and that is what, because a sadhu will never get into any kind of bad habits, but he is trying to impose himself as a sadhu. So a mithyachara, that's what I can say. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, mere dressing as a renounced person is not so. So, a person has to be cleansed from inside and they have to maintain certain decorum or whatever is required. But this particular, many people will fall prey to such people, but they should refrain from falling prey to such people. Okay. यात्वा इंद्रियाणि मनसा नियम्य भरते अर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रिये कर्मयोगम् असक्ता सा विशिष्यते. See, on the other hand, if a sincere person try to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga and Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is far superior. So seeing this picture, anybody remembers anything? Hare Krishna. What happens in Rath Yatra when Lord is coming for procession? So what activities devotees do?
Gundi Chamarjan, that's what we say, Mataji. That is, sweeping the road before the Rath comes. So I guess it is called Gundi Chamarjan.
And what are the colors of the brooms, what they use?
Mataji, the king used to use a golden broom, but other colors I don't know. This is what I know.
Golden and a silver, Mataji. Okay, Hare Krishna. So prime Swartakati, or the goal of self-interest is to reach Vishnu. The entire institution of Varna and Ashrama designed to reach the goal of life, reached by members of every Ashrama and Varna through service in Krishna consciousness. Pretenders' exhibitions are detrimental in achieving the goal, because every second passed is passed for our life. Okay, so we should not waste in all this unrealistic expectations and the illusionary things. Okay, so yeah, a pretender or a greatest cheater, we can say, to be shown in deep meditation, but mind dwells on the sense objects, because that is not centered around Lord's, seeing the Lord form and meditating upon the Lord. Okay. And their knowledge is stolen by illusionary energy of the Lord. For sense enjoyment, again, different social orders are there, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasa, but by following the rules and regulations, gradually one can attain the purification. A sincere person engages his mind and control his mind is far superior. Okay. So, no matter which varna and which ashrama you belong to, if you make Krishna as your center or God consciousness, then automatically you will perform your duty without any attachment. Okay. नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्मो ज्यायो हि अकर्मणा शरीरा यत्र पिचाते न प्रसिद्ध्येत कर्मणा. Perform your prescribed duty. For doing so is better than not working. Okay, one cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. So Lord is saying what is destined for you or what is your dharma you should do. You should not refrain or you should not go away from all these things. Okay, and yeah. Can you, any one of you say one or two examples? What is a karma one should do, as Lord is explaining here to Arjuna, as per the different varnashram in modern life? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hope you understood my question.
Mataji, can you repeat the question once again?
What is the karma one has to do as per Lord Krishna, like in this modern life? Examples I wanted. I think
Hare Krishna. Mataji, what I understand in this Kali Yuga, we are all Shudras, like we are all labors in the hands of our wherever we are working. So, doing our own job or business, whatever we are doing, uh, that is separate, but apart from that we have to get into bhakti or devotional service. That is what matters. We have to surrender to Krishna. We have to surrender the fruits of our activities to Krishna and do our own work.
Yes,
Hare
Mataji
Krishna.
says, Hare Krishna. If a soldier is there who is guarding us in the line of command, so what type of bhakti, what type of bhakti we expect him to do now? Example. Hare Krishna.
A soldier will do the job of a kshatriya, but he has to be in the path of devotional service also, apart from performing his duty as a kshatriya. He has to be surrendered to Krishna. He has to be Krishna conscious also.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. So these are various examples, based on different varnas. Like once you are in a teaching job, once you are, whether you are in a temple service, whether you are a business person, whether you are a service person, whatever it is, because our day-to-day activities should be divided. 24 hours should be divided. 8 hours for a job, 8 hours for personal work, 8 hours for sleep. Okay, sorry, 8 hours for the bhakti. Okay, in that bhakti, at least devote 4 hours for the bhakti by reading or chanting and doing some activity. So like that, if we inculcate the bhakti in our routine life, then it will give us the required guidance, which is right for us. So here we have taken an example of a soldier who is there to have the sthita pragnata of the mind. Like here, Arjuna is also a soldier in the battlefield. He should have a knowledge about the Lord so that he know what is right and what is wrong, and he can take the right decision by doing his duty. Okay. So performing the prescribed duty will automatically, gradually leads to purification of the heart. And here Arjuna, being a Kshatriya, engage himself in the war, not renouncing, but going for the forest, which work should not be given up. So without purification of the materialistic propensities. So we should do the work, but provided as a service towards the Lord. Okay. One should not totally get washed away in the service. Yeah. Yajna means Lord Vishnu sacrificial performance. So in this particular, in the good olden days, when people used to do the yajna, out of yajna, the clouds used to form, and there is a water, then you'll have a grains. The grain are being again surrender onto the Lord in the form of a prasadam. People used to have it as a prasadam. If you remember in good olden days, the women in the family used to prepare the food, first offer it to the Lord, then only it is been distributed in the family. So that was a right process. But in the Kali Yuga and in this modern era, so what difference we are noticing now? Yes, anybody from the audience? Hare Krishna. How many families?
Can you please repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Many people are offering the food to the Lord and having it as a prasadam in this Kali Yuga, Mataji?
Very less, Mataji. Only devotees can do. Hare Krishna. Is it right, Mataji? Is it correct?
Yes, Mataji. I think previously, in good old days, our great grandmothers and all those people, that was a ritual, anything which has been prepared first should be offered
Yes,
to the Lord.
yes.
Is distributed among the family members.
Yes. In our home also, some festivals like that they are doing. But after Krishna conscious I came, I'm doing on the daily basis 3 times. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So like that, at least some amount of a purification process is there, so that gradually it will cleanse us from inside. Okay. Yajnatat karmano anyatra lopo yam karma bandhana tadardham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Okay, work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed, otherwise work will cause bondages in the material world. Okay, so like that, whatever the grains we are getting out of the yajna, if you are offering to the Lord, we can take it as a prasadam. Otherwise, these are my grains and only I will store it. I will not give it to somebody else. So once it becomes prasadam, your mind is entitled, yes, this has to be distributed among the all needy and necessary. Okay, therefore, son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will free from the bondages. Okay. So just merely doing work too, we have to do is that a service towards the Lord is getting transferred from karma kanda to karma yoga. Okay. So Srila Prabhupada ends all the purpose in this section 3 by glorifying the supremacy and the need of a Sankirtana Yajna. So any activity what we are doing to please Krishna or Vishnu is not binding but liberating. Yes, we have to do it under the guidance of a spiritual master, which will gradually help one to get elevated and develop transcendental loving service to the Lord, and going back to God is for sure. Okay. Yeah, if you're not doing so, again, we are just action oriented and gratify our senses if you are doing that. So we have to again come back to that cycle of birth and death. So this is the yoga ladder, extended yoga ladder. So this thing, sun, planet, sun, disk, and sunshine are like, these are compared to the first, second, and third class devotees. Okay. Sun planet is like third class devotee. Sun disk is like second class devotee. Sorry, the other way. Sunshine is third class. Sun disk is the second class. Sun planet is the first class devotee. Okay. So from animal propensity, one is doing the karma. And Sakama Karma Yoga, that means they wanted to enjoy the fruits of their work. Nishkama Karma Yoga, no. They wanted to do it as a service towards the Lord. Jnana Yoga, no work, accumulating only the knowledge. And Ashtanga Yoga, mainly the Siddhis who have some Siddhis. And Bhakti Yoga is the highest of all. Okay. So, as the name, sunshine, that is a peripheral, then what all we receive is the sunshine. This may change. Okay. But to make your, if you are further concentrating on the Lord and doing the practices, you may further go a little bit forward and do the Ashtanga Yoga, which will make you firm in your practices and have a deep faith in the Lord. So ultimately, it will liberate you to the Bhakti Yoga. So this another slide. Yeah. Again, animal life to Karma Kanda to Sakama Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga or Sadhana Bhakti. Okay. Then it can further progress to the Bhava Bhakti or the Prema Bhakti. Okay. Bhava Bhakti first, next comes the Prema Bhakti. Bhava is again, if you remember in 8th chapter, we will come to know about different types of Bhava by which we worship the Lord. If we are getting that Bhava Bhakti, then we are progressing towards the higher side of the Bhakti. Okay. So these are the express elevators, progressive yoga ladder, extended yoga ladder. Okay. Anywhere it is starting with the animal life, that means we are also social animals. So these we have already discussed. And express elevator, I can say surrender and association of pure devotee, that is taking the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. He will help you to do the sadhana bhakti by chanting the 16 rounds and more and attending the temple programs regularly, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, other scriptures, doing Bhakti Shastri course example. Okay. So in that way, we try to worship Lord in one type of a bhava, which will ultimately culminate in the prema bhakti. So we should always try to take this path, express elevator, by being in a Krishna consciousness. Saha yajna praja astritva puro vacha prajapati anena prasavidhyatvam esa votsva ishtakamaduk. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth for generation of men and demigods along with the sacrifices for Vishnu and blessed him by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna," sacrifice. And because its performance will bestow upon everything desirable for living happily and achieving the liberation. Okay. Can anybody say this picture is represents which scene in Srimad Bhagavatam? Anybody? So this particular picture is from the yajna which Yudhishthira Maharaj will perform after he enthrones the Hastinapur, when he won the when he has when he got it, when he has fighted against the Kauravas and got back his kingdom. Okay. So what is important is in the age of Kali Yuga, the Sankirtana Yajna. So what do you mean by Sankirtana Yajna?
Chanting Hare Krishna Mataji. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Yes, Mataji, and doing Nagar Sankirtana by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is
and Kirtan also, Mataji. Yes. By Kirtan, Kartal and all those instruments. That is Sankirtana. Correct, right, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. So Sankita Yajna is the most recommended in the Vedic scriptures as per the Kali Yuga, introduced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If you are not able to do so, that is in different yugas, different parameters way, but in Kali Yuga, the Sankita Yajna is the only one by which one get liberated or get delivered from the clutches of the Maya and go back to the Godhead. Okay. Vedaischa sarve ahameva vedya. Lots the purpose of Veda is to be understand him. And Patim Vishwasyatmeshwaram. Vedic hymns, the Lord of living entities, is the supreme personality of the Godhead, Vishnu. Okay. Devan bhavaya bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu va parasparam bhavayanta shreya paryam, no, sorry, shreya param avapsyata. The demigods, being pleased with the sacrifices, will also please you, and thus by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all. Okay, so the Indra is pleased, you will get rains. If you get rains, you will get crops. If you get crops, you will be flourished. Isn't it? So whatever the yajna we are doing, what are the activities we are doing, in the good olden days, they used to do this fire sacrifices and all this. But here, Sankirtan Yajna is equivalent to that. If you are able to do that, then automatically all this will give the benefit as they used to give in the previous yugas. Okay. So, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, that is ultimate satisfaction of the Yajnapati is the chief purpose. But if you are pleasing Krishna, Krishna will say to all the demigods, see, my devotees are constantly remembering me. So you see that they are being flourished and they get everything which is required for them so that they can remember me more. So in that way, yajna sanctifies one's eatable, sanctified foodstuff purifies one's very existence, finer tissues in the memory become sanctified. When memory is sanctified, one thinks of the path of liberation, and thus this combined together leads to the Krishna consciousness. So this is the yajna chakra. You can see the purpose of Vedas is to know about the Lord. So we do the duties by doing the yajna. So there is again, I told you, rain and a crop. We offer that to the Lord and have it as a prasadam is going to purify us. By performing of yajna, all activities become purified as it is stated in Vedas. Ahara suddhau shatva suddhihi sattva shuddhau dhruva smritihi smriti lamdhe sarva granthinam vipramokshaha. By performing of yajna, one eatables become sanctified, and by eating such sanctified foods, one's very existence become purified. And ultimately, all these things will lead to Krishna consciousness, which is the great necessity of the today's mankind in Kali Yuga. Okay. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavita tairdattan aprada yabhyo yobhum kyesena evasa. In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods being satisfied the performance of yajna will supply all necessities to you, but he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the Lord is said to be a thief. Okay, so once we have learned this today, so at least whatever we are taking, let it be water, food, whatever it is, we'll offer it to the Lord and have it as a prasadam. Okay, so the same thing is being told here, because all the raw material is provided by the Lord. The sun, heat, water, everything is provided by the Lord. Okay. Even the demigods who bless us with all this when we are doing yajna are again, it's again Lord's mercy that they're all there to help us different portfolios, isn't it? The sunlight, moonlight, rainfall, breeze, everything is again the Lord's creation. He's omnipresent everywhere. So just we are using his resources by staying in this material world. And if you're not surrendering ourselves or offering it to the Lord and ultimately enjoying that resources, means we are said to be a thief. So we should free ourselves from all this reactions. So in that, once you are there in devotional service, ultimately you think, yes, we have to offer one. If you establish one type of a bhava by which you worship the Lord, then you get that automatically, yes, I have to offer it to the Lord and have it as a prasadam. Okay. Yajna shishtastina santo muchyante sarva kilvishaye bhunjantyete tva agam papa ye pashyanti atma karana. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice, others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only the sin. Okay, so we should always offer first food to the Lord and have it as a prasadam. So who are santas? As per the Brahma Samhita, okay. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hrudayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achinta Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Santas means the pure devotees of the Supreme Lord who see Lord in their heart of hearts with eyes brimmed with the devotion, tinged with the salve of love, and are in eternal love with the Govinda, the giver of all pleasures, the Mukunda, the giver of liberation, Krishna, all attractive person. So they cannot accept anything without offering it to the Lord. Okay, yajnas performed by them in different modes of devotion, such as Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Archanam, and keep them aloof from all kind of contamination, sinful association of the material world. So this is first and foremost indication that if we are progressing further in the bhakti, all our material attachments will go away and pave the path towards the spirituality. So others preparing food for the self for sense gratification are thieves, taking all kind of a sin. Sankirtana Yajna alone can get rid of all these propensities and granting peace and happiness in this Kali Yuga. Okay. Annad bhavanti bhutani pajjanyadanna sambhava yajnyan bhavati pajjanyo yajna karma samudbhava. So all living bodies subsist on the food rains which are produced from the rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, and yajna is one of the prescribed duties. So if one is doing their duty properly, then automatically the cycle will goes on. So here the yajna purusha is again the Lord himself, master of all the demigods. This will come in 11th chapter where Lord will be shown in the Vishwarupa, where you can see all the demigods who are part and parcel of the Lord. As we have discussed, demigods like Indra, Chandra, Varuna are assigned material affairs to just cater to the needs of the mankind. So Vedas directly sacrifices to satisfy these demigods. So whatever yajnas we are doing, this will please them, and indirectly they will help us to get what is required for us to survive on this earth. Okay. So please, demigods supply air, water, whatever it is which is required for you. Okay. Therefore, devotees of the Lord offer food to the Krishna and then eat it as a prasadam, nourishes the body spiritually, vanquished from all the sinful reaction. Okay. So body immunized for all contamination of the material nature. So people who have the Krishna Prasadam are immune to all, just like a vaccine, you know. I think all of you must have seen the COVID vaccine during that time. We have been vaccinated against the COVID and all. It gives some amount of protection. Similarly, the prasadam, what we are eating day in and day out, which is offered to the Lord, acts like an immunization to us. It will ward away from all sort of a materialistic contamination. Okay. So Sankirtana Yajna equally powerful in saving humans from scarcity of the food supply also. Okay. Yeah. Again, the role of Indra is lightning, thunder, storms, rains, river flows and war. And Chandra is the juice in the plant. Varuna, the god of all form of a river, including oceans and water present in the underworld, as well as the god of universal law and celestial order known as a Shrita. Okay. Yeah. Karma Brahmodbhavam vidhi Brahmakshara samudbhavam tasma sarvagatam Brahma Nityam Yajna Pratishtitam. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in the acts of the sacrifice. Okay. So Yajnartha Karma is the work for the satisfaction of the Lord, and direction for such work is laid down in the Vedas, and anything which we are doing without a direction of Vedas is called as a vikarma or unauthorized or sinful reaction. Activities done in the direction of Vedas save one from the reaction of the work. Directions of Vedas are directly manifested from breathing of the Supreme Lord. Okay. Asya mahato bhutasya Nishwashitam etad yad Rigvedo, Yajurvedo, Samavedo, Tharvangishaha. The four Vedas, namely the Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharvana Veda, are all emanation from the breathing of the great personality of the Godhead. So Lord is all omnipresent, and he speaks by his breathing air, impregnates through his eyes, and conditioned souls are impregnated with the womb of the material nature. The the Garbhodaka Sai Vishnu, who will, from his navel, the Brahma rises, and from Brahma will create all the 84 lakh species materialistic body, and in them the soul is given by Kshirodaka Sai Vishnu. So just he impregnates each individual soul in that particular body and give them a life. The glance over the material nature fathered all living entities because he is the one who is entering into each Jivatma as a soul and giving them a life. So gave the Vedic wisdom to the conditioned soul to return home, get back to Godhead. The intelligence what we are able to realize that yes, we have to do this, we have to read this, follow this particular instructions and take up this path is again given by Krishna. Krishna consciousness is equally potent as a Vedic yajnasa. Those who have not followed the Vedic injunction may adopt Krishna consciousness. So simply this is simple, it's easy to follow. If you're following this, automatically you'll be liberated. Okay. Evam pravatitam chakram nano vatyatitayaha agayurindiya ramo mogham partha sajivati. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice thus established by the Vedas certainly lead to a life full of sin, living only for the satisfaction of senses. Again, he has to come into the cycle of a birth and death. Okay. So the transcendentalists, that is the persons who attain the Sthita Prajnata, need not perform the rigid yajnas as prescribed in the Vedas. And those engaged in sense gratification require purification in the form of a yajna. So who should do yajna and who should not do yajna? There is a clarity here, isn't it? So specified yajnas are directly aimed at particular demigods as mentioned in the Veda. Though performance one should transcend and become Krishna consciousness. So whatever one is doing, ultimately the enjoy should be the Krishna. Okay. Nishkama Karma Yogi includes my prescribed duties are meant to bring material reward, nor do not have a material desire in this life, nor do I desire Svargaloka. Now I am not of this body. So why should I need to perform any prescribed duty? Okay. Krishna explains that one is free from all material desires, should nevertheless perform his duty. So whatever the work is one is doing, you know, they should submit the results onto the Lord, not taking the personal attachment to whatever work they are doing. Okay. So this answers to the Arjuna's argument of destruction of family dynasty. He is a Kshatriya. Now his work is to do towards the service of the Lord. He don't have to think beyond that. Okay. Yastva atmaratire atmatuttascha manava atmanyeva cha santushta tasya karyam na vidyate. But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied with the self only, fully satiated from him, there is no duty. Okay, so I think this we will, yeah. A self-realized soul or Atmarati is being Krishna consciousness, all impiety within is instantly clean. Yeah, the person who has come to that stage of Sthita Prajnata, who knows that I don't have to endeavor for any sort of a materialistic manifestation. My only role is to just meditate upon the Lord by 9 types of a devotional service, and Lord will definitely provide what is required for me. So, in turn, Lord Krishna wanted to say Arjuna also being belonging to Kshatriya. So you just have to come to that stage and do as a duty as a service towards the Lord. Okay. So this we will continue in our tomorrow's class. I will stop here. Any questions, please ask. Hare Krishna, any questions? Hope it is clear, or anything you want to ask.
Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
What we are suffering in this life, is it a past life karmas or this life karmas include, Mataji? Or when we chant or when we do the Krishna service, it will be go away by this life, in this life. I'm not clear about this. Can you please explain, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Mataji, in the past life, we have endeavored to reborn again. We wish that we would be reborn again. That is the reason why we have come here. And in Kali Yuga, you can, as you see, day by day, it is all abominable activities are only going on. So, because we wish to that we should be reborn, we are born again. So we have to enjoy the benefits of it, Mataji. That is the only thing I can say.
But my question is, what we are suffering, is it a past life karmas or this life karmas also, Mataji?
Mataji, everything is a suffering only. Only it is our interpretation. This gives pleasure and this gives pain.
Is it by chanting this life karma will go away, Mataji?
Mataji, by doing these practices, we know that at least we are on the right path of a liberation. Eventually, we will not be affected by any sort of a materialistic manifestation, whether it is a sukarma or any sort of abominable things. Anything wrong is also happening. We will just trust God ki He is there, who is guiding us. We are always under His protection. So God will not spare if a devotees are being troubled, you know. So by constantly remembering Him and by doing service towards Him, we are in His shelter. So in that way, help us to get liberated, not to come again in this life.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Any other doubts or any questions?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, attendance link has not yet been sent.
Oh, I'm not. Okay. I will. I don't think any co-host has joined here because they only used to share the attendance link. I will try to share it in the group otherwise. Okay.
Okay,
Yes,
Mataji.
yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, participants, for your active participation. See you all tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.